let's go ahead and call this to order. Board of Directors meeting, September 24, 2024, Pensacola City Council Chambers. Roll call, Matt?
Yes, sir. Chair Kohler.
Here.
Vice Chair Wright.
Here.
Mr. Compton. Was good to come. Mayor Fitch.
Here.
Mr. Norberg.
Here.
Mr. Speed.
Here.
Councilman Moore.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
We do have quorum present.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have approval of the board agenda today?
So moved. Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the board agenda is approved. I hope you got to read the 133 board minutes from the last meeting. Did we have approval of the August 28, 2024 board minutes?
So moved. Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Passes unanimously. All right, we're up to staff updates. Matt, you're up
Thank
first.
you. Good afternoon, everybody. Good to see everybody. Glad to be back. It was hard coming back from the trip, but we've got a lot of great things in the works. So I will miss my daily morning chocolate croissant to be here. Thanks. First, happy National Estuaries Week. Not yet. Happy National Estuaries Week. This is a celebration that's done the third week of September every year. Logan will talk about some of the efforts that we have coming up this week and some that have already happened. But it's really just a good time to get out, enjoy these natural resources that we get the opportunity to call home. With that, now I'd like to welcome our newest team member, Chloe Ray. Chloe started with us just last week, filling our new environmental technician role. Chloe has a bachelor's degree in biology and a minor in communications from the University of South Alabama. She came to us from Mobile Baykeeper, just down the road, and before that was with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. She'll be working primarily with Paige in the implementation of our Living Shoreline Assistance Program, and also with Haley and Whitney on the implementation of our microbial source tracking water quality project as well. So we're really happy to have Chloe on board. And Chloe, you're welcome if you want to say anything.
Yeah, I'm just really excited to be here and excited to meet all of y'all. So.
Can we ask a few questions? No, just wondering what your hobbies are. You know, do you have a favorite pet?
This is the second
Welcome aboard.
Very good. And also the other position we'll be filling starting next week, Zach Shang will be joining us to fill our project coordinator position. He will start next Wednesday, so you'll meet him at the November board meeting, and he is coming to us from the Florida Department of Environmental Protection as well. So happy to have these folks on board. Just a couple of other items that I don't have slides for, so you can keep looking at Chloe's picture. Had the great opportunity last week to host a panel at FLARA. FLARA is the Florida Local Environmental Resource Agencies group. It is a group of local government staff primarily, state government staff, and then private sector representatives as well from all over the state of Florida. They held their annual meeting on Pensacola Beach. We had a great panel. Commissioner Wright was on there. Gerald Boudreau with the Northwest Florida Water Management District. And we had Shannon Ogletree, the Economic Development Director for Santa Rosa County as well, and Eric Christensen from Regional Planning Council. And really the goal of that panel was to show how all these regional partnerships can both support water quality improvement, economic development, and community resilience. So it was a really great session. It was also great to have Florida Association of Counties here last week. That was a big deal. I know former Commissioner Bender was very much instrumental in helping make that happen, and the entire delegation from here. So it's always good to highlight Northwest Florida when we can. Also had the opportunity back early part of last month to attend Green Drinks over in Mobile. Green Drinks is I think it's a monthly social program. They go around to different breweries around Mobile to talk about environmental programs and initiatives. So I was invited by Mark Birdie with Alabama Coastal Foundation to come over and talk about what we're doing with the estuary program. we probably had 30 or so people in attendance, and it was a great opportunity to build that collaboration on the Alabama side. So good opportunity and good partnerships there. Just three other quick updates. We also had the all hands meeting with our Perdido Bay project in association with the Nature Conservancy. That was back early part of August. So that is now a year under us. That is partially funding our Living Shoreline Assistance Program. That'll fund design of the Living Shoreline project up at Bronson Field on Perdido Bay, and then the restoration of the lower Perdido Islands that the Nature Conservancy is leading. Yeah, it was a good opportunity to network with everybody there. Tomorrow, in relation to that, I will be out on Perdido, lower Perdido Bay with Orange Beach, TNC, and some others. There's some NOAA leadership in town. You're giving me quite a look there.
No, we were talking about the office yesterday, pending weather, because we hadn't seen any confirmation from TNC on that boat yet. But yeah, tentatively.
Tentatively.
Yeah.
We'll hope for good
Still
news.
happening.
We'll hope for good news. But the great thing with that is NOAA leadership recognizes the value of the projects that they've funded in this region to date, and also how many other needs are out there in this region. And so really, they connected with the Nature Conservancy and invited us, Orange Beach and other partners, to attend as well, to really talk about where we're at and where we're going in terms of restoration and conservation locally. So that's a good indication to hopefully see additional investments from them in the years ahead. And then just my final update is related to NEP designation. So we've gotten some additional movement there just this week. Commissioner Kohler's been very instrumental in helping make those conversations happen. We do have the support from Representative Dunn's office to sponsor the House version of the bill. So we are actively working with them in hopes that will be brought to a vote before the end of the calendar year, so that we can get everything turned around and locked in.
Matt, can I just open that up? I went to both our lobbyists. I think we talked about this the last meeting. You know, we have Shoemaker and Gray and Robinson, and they're both working on this. I don't know if you guys are doing this at Santa Rosa or at the city, but I think it would help.
I'll make sure they're aware of it.
Yeah. So, and I've been in good comms with them, so hopefully we can get across the finish line. We only have 3 weeks. It's a pretty tight schedule, so hopefully it works out. But I don't know about the city. If they do. Who do you guys use for lobbyists? Do you know?
I'll get with them.
Okay. You're going to be the lobbyist.
Yeah, I'm going to go drive right now.
Quick question, is it primarily an issue that we need to make sure gets pushed on the House side? Because we've still got the Senate full support from
Senate's been approved. So really the ask is for the House to adopt the Senate bill and send it to the President for signature. There's nothing more bipartisan than the STRIP program. That's my view. So hopefully in the remaining 3 weeks we can knock it out. But yeah, any additional support that we can get from your respective lobbying teams could very much help get this across the finish line.
Okay. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you. Two other updates that I have, there are actual slides for this time. We were able to kick off the Pensacola Bay System Oyster Restoration Initiative design. This is our 10-year goal to restore 1,500 acres of oyster habitat. As you'll recall, we selected Jacobs Engineering Group. That contract was approved at the last board meeting, and at the end of last month, we held that kickoff meeting with them. That is Matt Davenport going through our very lengthy and aggressive timeline associated with this project, but we're happy to have them on board. We had this kickoff meeting in partnership with FWC and Nature Conservancy, some members from Santa Rosa County staff, and FWC. So it was a good way to really kind of set the table for what we expect the next 18 months to look like for the design process. Really, their team is moving right into working with our team on compiling existing data and then getting the plan together to start in-field data collection, which should occur after the first of the year. At that point, we'll have a number of larger public engagement meetings. One thing that we're definitely trying to do as part of this new program is to learn from other communities, other estuaries across the country who's done large-scale restoration well. Maybe you thought you were doing it well and something didn't work out as you had planned. Talk about those challenges, and so NOAA's been very helpful in that process as well. So we'll have updates on this project, I'm sure, basically every meeting going forward until we hit in-water construction in 2 years from now, assuming that permits are issued at that point. Then last thing, as you know, Eating for the Estuaries Gala is coming up October 17th, 6 o'clock over in Orange Beach, Coastal Arts Center of Orange Beach. Pleased to say that between ticket sales and sponsorships thus far, we've gotten a little over $20,000 in. I think we are hovering around 60 tickets or so right now, so we're trying to get up to 100 tickets sold. A lot of people wait till the last minute. We know how that goes, but please keep pushing this message out, trying to get tickets locked in October 3rd. If that doesn't happen, we'll still have some opportunities available. But thank you to those that have aided in the silent auction donations. Mayor Fitch is currently winning that race on the board. Mr. Chairman, you're like right there and right behind. So we're in a good position. But certainly, if you have other silent auction items or sponsorships opportunities, pass them along to staff. We're happy to go pick it up, and that really helps in the donations that are raised in this program.
Okay. Is that the end of the?
That's it for me. Now I'm going to turn it over to Paige, and she's going to give a quick update on the Oyster Shore Recycling Program.
I'll go stand over here. So I have some exciting news. We have officially kicked off our Oyster Shore Recycling Program. So we started August 22nd, and we already have 15 tons of shell over a month. We are collecting on Mondays and Thursdays. In comparison, just to see how much shell, most programs are collecting 15 tons in a month with 10 to 15 restaurants. We are doing it with 4 restaurants. So we will definitely meet our deliverables. People like oysters here, apparently. So that's really awesome and great to hear. It means we will have to really consider and think about expansion and what that's going to look like and how we do that with capacity, as we go on. But that's good news to have. Here's one of our teammates actually out at work, Jalen. He is dumping shell that they just picked up. Also very exciting, we have finalized our logo, our title, and kind of our branding and messaging with Hatchmark. So this is our new logo. The program name is called the Oyster Alliance, kind of really meant to bring in that, comprehensive collective of all of the different people and parties involved in this whole process of oyster shell recycling. And so we've created these as stickers. We've got some window clings, outreach materials to go out. We have some coloring pages for kids at restaurants. We've got posters and flyers, and I said window clings, and a few other outreach materials that we are going to be rolling out very soon. So be looking for these when you are in Pensacola Beach, and then hopefully if we're able to extend next year, start looking for those all around the area. So that is it. Thank you.
Thanks, Paige.
What are the 4 restaurants that we're collecting from?
Felix's, these are all in Pensacola Beach.
Oh, okay.
Felix's, the Grand Marlin, Redfish Bluefish, and Pegleg Peas. Pegleg Peas is our #1 producer.
Yeah.
That's the best oyster.
Like it's surprising,
That's good to know. All right.
All right, so we have a couple of updates for the technical side of things. So this is looking at our Sea Stars Living Shoreline Monitoring. So this is in partnership with St. Andrew and St. Joseph Bay Estuary Program, and we're monitoring 10 living shorelines within our area. So we conducted Q4 sampling, which is our last sampling of the year, July 28th through August 1st. You can see here some pictures of oysters that people are measuring. We're looking at vegetation and vegetation growth, and really just trying to track if these living shorelines are successful and to bring that information to people. Oh, I have a slide. Okay. Last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, can't remember, we went out with Escambia County to monitor the living shoreline that they're putting in. What is it called?
NAS Pensacola Living Shoreline.
NAS Pensacola Living Shoreline. So there's 3 big living shoreline projects that are going in with this. And as part of their permitting process, they have to do pre and post seagrass surveys and monitoring. So we went out with this, well, Whitney and I went out with Escambia County, and you can see in this photo here, this is Ryan, Kirby, and Whitney. We went out and we got shoot height and species. It's all halidooley if you're interested over in these areas. But we're really excited for when they get the permit and put this project in to really see those grasses start to really grow. And I think their plan is by April that they're gonna have some things in the water. Seagrass monitoring. So this is a effort that is conducted mainly by the University of Southern Mississippi, and this project is happening this week. And many of our other staff are going to be experiencing this. And so this is where we do more technical monitoring of seagrass. So we go out and we look at what species are present, how dense is the seagrass, are there epiphytes, how healthy is it, how big are the shoots. And this is a project that we've done for the last 3 years, and we hope to continue this on to really look at changes through time and look at health through time as well. Something that has happened since we've last talked, we did submit that long-term trends proposal for FIM monitoring, so fisheries independent monitoring, which I know Mike is really excited about. We were really strongly encouraged to submit this proposal, so we're very hopeful that we get this effort and we can bring FIM monitoring back into the area and really start to understand our fish populations better and put that data out into the public. We have 2 future engagements, so kind of sticking with our tradition of our Halloween Oyster Subcommittee meeting. That's going to be on October 31st from 10 to 2. And this is going to be updating the Oyster Subcommittee on the Oyster Restoration Initiative, so mainly what Matt talked about with our SPAT kickoff meeting with Jacobs Engineering, and giving people an update of where we are and where we're going with that. The next engagement that we have for the Oyster Restoration Initiative, which is going to be a very big engagement, is the Stakeholder Planning Workshop #1. So we will have at least 2. This is tentatively scheduled for February 19th through 20th. We're thinking half days, maybe full days. We'll see when we get there. We're going to be planning this with Jacobs Engineering for the Oyster Restoration Initiative, and we are planning to have a lot of people in the room, I think 80, maybe more. We want to be ambitious with this to get as many people in the room, so stakeholders, oystermen, biologists, the permitters, so we can really discuss, those sites that we want to go after, so we can develop those conceptual designs with Jacobs Engineering and the future of this project. So we're excited about that. And that is it for me.
Thank you. All right, so since we saw you, we continued our summer seagrass sluice program. So we were over in Navarre towards the end of July. We caught a worm eel, which was pretty cool. Our first time catching an eel in the net, which everyone was excited about. The kids thought it was a snake at first, so it was always fun to talk about that. And then we also hosted a homeschool program in August at Shoreline Park for Wild and Free Northwest Florida. On that line, we had a training a few weekends ago for that same program to get some more volunteers up and ready as we expand that programming for K through 12 during the school year. We were facing the rain on a Friday the 13th, so we were fortunate enough to go hang out at the community center in the lobby there and transition inside and do some of that training inside till the weather cleared up, and then we got out and were able to do seining still and get the volunteers experiencing what they would be helping with during those upcoming field trips. So we're glad to have some more folks trained up and ready to go to support that program. Over the summer, I also led a Nature on the Bay program on the Pensacola Ferry. We were invited by Gulf Islands, the National Park Service, to come and talk about nature in our watershed. So we talked everything about manatees, oysters, seagrass, and it was a great turnout. It's their first time doing it through the summer. They've done one program per month, and they're hoping to continue that next year and have invited us back. We had our Trash Free Waters film screening, if you remember our Trash Free Waters project to improve our local creeks. And we hosted that at Odd Colony Brewing, where we had our first premiere of the film. We had a great turnout, and it was partnered with our trivia for that month, which was trash trivia, of course. This is fitting. And so we had a great turnout for that. If you haven't seen the film, it went out in our newsletter. I encourage you to watch it. It's not a long watch, but it's very impactful and moving, many tears in the audience. Just a wrap up on our Panhandle manatee season. It is coming to a close. Our intern, Keena Finley's last day is actually going to be this Sunday, weather permitting. She'll be at National Public Lands Day doing her last outreach event, but she's had an extremely successful summer. She had over 120 volunteer hours logged from volunteers. These are not her hours. She had many more than that. They distributed over 700 boater kits and reached over 2,600 people that they interact with at boaters ramps, at boat ramps and fishing piers. And so again, the main point of this program is to educate those folks that are out on the water about the fact that we have manatees here, how to look out for them, to practice safe boating practices, not only for manatees, but also seagrass. And so we extend our big thank you to Keena. She couldn't be here today because she's in class, but we'll pass along, I'm sure the board would like to pass along their thanks to her work as well. As Matt mentioned, this is National Estuaries Week this week. So it kicked off on Saturday. Some of our partners had events, the Alabama Coastal Cleanup, the International Coastal Cleanup. Yesterday, we hosted our annual Lunch and Learn. It was virtual this year, and it was all about seagrass, scallops, and fish in our bays. If you weren't able to tune in, it's already on our YouTube channel, so you can catch the recording and hear those highlights. We also have trivia tonight, so you're welcome to come out and join us. It's going to be at Alga from 7 to 9. It's free. There'll be prizes for the top 3 teams, and Alga has actually their own regular host, Ranger Brandon, who's going to be the MC for the night. So that was very fitting. He has a normal Triviafari program, so we provided some additional questions for him to integrate into his normal trivia. We are still planning on moving forward with the Community Grant Symposium this Thursday, unless there are any unanticipated changes in the forecast. And that's going to be at the Bayview Community Center starting at 5:30, going to 8:30. So again, we encourage you to come out and hear more in depth than the updates we've given about those projects. You'll hear directly from the recipients from the last year, and we'll be announcing the new awardees for the upcoming year. And they are also planning on moving forward. The Pensacola Seafood Festival, as of now, is still happening this weekend, and so we will have a table there all 3 days. We're also having Oyster Corps members that we're working with for the oyster shell recycling effort coming out, and they're going to be talking about the oyster shell recycling program and vertical oyster gardens, and they'll have some of those on display to highlight for folks as well. And that's all I've got.
Wow, you guys, that was a great update. A lot of good stuff going on. I can't make all this stuff between trivia twice a month and everything else, but thank you for what you're doing. All right, man, are we up to action items?
Yes, sir. Action item 6A is the approval of the Florida Department of Environmental Protection grant agreement number L0099 in the amount of $750,000 for FY 24-25 legislative appropriation.
Okay, we have any motion to approve or any discussion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, second? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Unopposed, passes unanimously, Matt. All right, let's go to 6B.
Sir, 6B is the approval of Florida Department of Environmental Protection Agreement number RES 13 in the amount of $2.2 million for the Carpenter Creek Restoration Project. We've been waiting on this grant agreement for probably 18 months at this point, so we're pleased that it's finally come through. This will fund the design work for the Carpenter Creek restoration, which will stretch on the upstream end from I-110 down to 12th Avenue. Our intent is to release an RFQ hopefully next month, and then have a firm onboarded early part of 2025 and start design work. And that will be a very close partnership with the city of Pensacola, in addition to Escambia County.
Sure, Mr. Moore will be very happy with that project.
Yeah, well, could I just say too, I guess over the last 20 plus years, the city's been actively working to ensure that all the water that works through that watershed into Bayou Tahar is filtered, and obviously this program runs right to 12th Avenue. A lot of the city's work has been at 12th Avenue, and the continued efforts have been that, man, Carpenter's Creek's bringing a whole lot of stuff in here, so very thrilled to see that this next, I guess, increment and all of that is addressed here through Carpenter's Creek. So, yeah, with you on 18 months. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
So do you want to make the motion to approve it since it's in your backyard?
Yeah. What a gracious group. Yes, please. I make the motion that we approve this.
Okay.
Second.
All right. If there's not any further discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. All right.
6C is the approval of a contract with Dolphin Island Sea Lab in the amount of $16,471.20 to complete the annual seagrass fish trawling survey, and that is funded through our legislative appropriation as it's been the last 3 years.
Okay, I don't have any questions on this.
So moved.
Okay, so is there a second?
Second.
All right, please vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, 6C passes unanimously.
Thank you. 6D is the approval of a contract amendment with the University of Southern Mississippi in the amount of $39,570 to complete the annual Tier 2 seagrass monitoring. As Haley mentioned in her update, this is now year 3, 4?
It's year 3.
Year 3 of that annual seagrass monitoring, and this is also funded through that legislative appropriation.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
I have a question real quick. So this is this information working its way into FWC, their seagrass monitoring program and all that? Is it compatible with everything they're trying to look for? Excellent. Cool.
Yeah.
I'll motion to approve that.
I got another question too.
I got the head nod.
A second question from
Yeah, and thank you guys for that lunch and learn yesterday. I learned a lot from it. But one of the questions I have is, on the seagrass monitoring, where are we monitoring? Because I know I fish a lot up in the Blackwater Bay area, north of Escribano, and I'm noticing a lot of the expansion of the seagrass area, because I chase speckled trout, so speckled trout, we know that they're hanging out in the seagrass areas. And I'm seeing more and more, and like on your tide lines, you're seeing more and more seagrass floating in the tide lines, and that's, I know it's a good sign, but then when I was noticing the monitoring y'all were doing yesterday, I didn't really see anything up in that area.
Yeah, so you're referring to Upper Bay and Blackwater. Yeah, so that would be a different species, so it wouldn't necessarily be seagrass, so that would be our freshwater species. We do have a couple of partners that occasionally monitor them. I know the University of Southern Mississippi and also the Dolphin Island Sea Lab have mapped some of that in recent years, so it is on our radar to start looking at that. But for the most part, the seagrass monitoring and extent coverage that we're talking about is mainly in the saltier portions of the bay in Santa Rosa Sound and Lower Perdido Bay. So that's where, and then we do some randomization to decide what grids to go after.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, we had a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? 6D passes unanimously.
Thank you. 6E is the approval of the health insurance coverage renewal with the Florida League of Cities. So as included in your backup, the Florida League has been a great partner over this last year. Health insurance provided through United Healthcare. The unfortunate news is that rates are going up 7%. We've worked with the league to try to minimize that increase as much as we can, evaluating other health insurance plans in the process. None of those other plans ultimately achieve what this plan does, which is to balance the cost with the benefits to our employees. Those other plans would either have substantially higher premiums or deductibles. Because we are still a newer organization, we don't have a trend, set for our program yet. Based on conversations with the league, the medical trend just kind of as a whole was 7.7%, and so that's why they're coming in at 7% for our plan coverage. As part of that, I also reached out to Florida Blue to see if there was anything comparable, kind of similar situation where premiums premiums or deductibles would be substantially higher than what this plan offers. What been able to do is to try to minimize the impact as much as we can on the employees. And so that cost is offset on the employer side, taking on as much as we can, though it does result in a minor net increase in monthly premiums on the spouse, children, and family plans. That's currently covered. As a reminder, we cover 100% of employee premium and up to 50% of spouse, child, and family under the family plans, and contribute currently $1,000 to everyone's HSA account annually, and then moving that to $1,100 effective in January. So again, the rate increases are never great, but I think this is the best option that we currently have. The good thing is, because the way this agreement is structured, with 45 days notice, if we found a better plan, we can always move somewhere else. But that is where we're currently at.
What's the total dollar amount? I know you said the percentage that's going up, and not that I want you to have health insurance, but do you know how much it's going to cost? Besides the 7%, what's the dollar amount?
Yeah, it's the total, the net increase is, I think right around $8,000 or so.
Any questions from the board?
Move approval. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? All right, go get your wellness check. All right, we're on F now, right?
All right. All right, thanks for that. Last action item, 6F, is final approval of proposed FY 24-25 operating budget. This is essentially the same as what was previously adopted, minor corrections in terms of pay rate for our newest employee based on the final negotiation of that rate. Everything else is unchanged, and in total that results in around a $2,000 difference from what was approved at the August board meeting to now, but everything else remains the same.
Okay. I didn't have any questions on it.
Move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
A second? Okay. Please vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. All right. Anything else on committee updates?
I don't believe we have any committee updates today.
Okay. Anything the board would like to get on record?
I'll just give an update real quickly. Matt referenced a meeting tomorrow. So we have the Perdido Islands Restoration Project happening. Got a meeting tomorrow with NOAA. We're going to go out and talk about the restoration, but it's a pretty big project. So if you guys are familiar with the area, right when you go over the bridge, the Alabama Pass, there's the islands to your north right there. A couple of those islands will be we're actually going to dredge and move that dredge spoil onto the islands, build the islands up. There's going to be some stabilization of the shoreline in a couple areas, and then all that's going to be planted. So next meeting in Orange Beach, which is typically January, February, first one of the year, you're going to see a lot of action when you come over that bridge. We're hoping to have the actual dredge done before season starts next year, hopefully. But big stuff happening. So we have a pre-bid meeting this week with the contractors. So just excited about that because it's a big one for us. Over the years, we've lost incrementally big pieces of those islands, and so once that project happens, I think we're going to see some big changes over the years. So pretty excited. I did want to announce too, and I've spoken to Matt about this. Behind the elementary school in Orange Beach, we have a facility called Sea, Sand, and Stars, and it is, I think it's a private, but funded by the school system somehow, and grant funded. Anyway, the principal earlier this year announced a plan to do an overhaul of that. It's kind of a learning center. Sea, Sand, and Stars kind of gives you an idea of what they do, but it's a hands-on learning center for the elementary and for the school system in Orange Beach and the surrounding areas. Matt and I talked about potentially looking for some grant funds to help fund the overhaul. We announced, or the superintendent announced last month that it was funded by a Go Mesa grant to the tune of like almost $900,000, and I think initially he was estimating that his initial estimate was only going to be about $5 million. So sure that, you know, they shot for the moon and got it, but exciting stuff because once that happens, I've heard discussion about opening that up to the public for certain hours during the weekends and in season. So a pretty exciting development for that, and I just want to bring that up because I hadn't had a chance to talk to you about it. So
thank you for that, Woody.
Exciting stuff.
Anything over here? Oh, go ahead.
I was going to ask Mike about this. I just saw this past week that another really good thing from Okaloosa County about some land that was purchased up in the Baker area that's in the Yellow River watershed. So it was exciting to see that. I think a recreational area, but it'll stay a natural area. Could you share some more about that?
Yes, our leadership has been really proactive in securing lands for conservation use. And with our expansion of our natural resource group up in the north end, kind of finding ways to tie in ecotourism related opportunities to these land acquisition things that we've got going on. So a number of things between that. Shoal River Ranch is another big one. It's kind of a gig assignment there that is going to have some nature-based activities associated with it. Try to promote those ecotourism and less impactful type activities. So yeah, huge steps forwards in conservation lands. So,
congratulations on
thank
that.
you.
And I wanted to thank Commissioner Wright and Commissioner Smith too. Recently, Santa Rosa County became an official partner in the Gulf Coastal Plain Ecosystem Partnership, which is a huge public and private landowner partnership that works on conservation projects together. So we're really thrilled to have the county officially a part of that, and look forward to working more with the county on conservation projects. Two others were also added at the same time, the Trust for Public Land and the Conservation Fund. So that brings the partnership up to 19 public and private landowners. And collectively, they manage over 1.3 million acres in Northwest Florida and South Alabama. So it just makes a lot of sense to work together and to bring our resources together when we can. So we're very appreciative of that. So
That's great news, and I love your hat.
So a question real quick, and kind of going along with what Woody had brought up. Is there, I know we have the community grants process within the program, but is there an opportunity to potentially look at having a staff member that is dedicated to helping the community or entities or other counties or whatever within the area focus in on grant writing. Is that something that potentially could be pursued? I know grant writing in itself is a huge task, but is, from an individual position that's focused in on that could also benefit the program and smaller, entities around the community.
Yep.
I think that's a great idea. What we would have to basically look at is looking at where we would find the funds to create like such a position, just knowing how stretched our current team members are. That said, I mean, usually what we try to do if a partner approaches us, best we can, and if time allows, we always try to find the ability to get to yes and partner. But a position like that could be a great resource, but we'd have to find the resources to have it on our team.
Yeah, and I certainly wouldn't advocate for having a current staff member have to do those additional duties. I think you guys are already very task saturated, and also pursuing grants, above and beyond of what we see right now coming across to us. So I think maybe if there's an opportunity, and I don't know how it would look, whether it's some dedicated funds from elsewhere, or maybe even pursuing a grant to develop a grant writer position. But I do think that would have to be something separate of what already staff is doing. It would be a position in itself.
And I think an area that potentially could help is once we receive our 501c3 designation, that'll open the door for other foundational capacity building grants that could potentially fund something like that.
Awesome. Cool.
Great conversation. One thing I wanted to comment is on the NSP Living Shoreline. I was told that the Corps of Engineers, we got the second permit in. So Keith told me out at FAC, and then Wes told me too. So we'll go out for procurement, and we'll probably 90 days if, get started. So it's a big deal for Escambia County, for the base specifically, so, and the folks that live around there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's been a long time coming, so I just thought I'd share that with you.
County team deserves major kudos for making that
Tim
happen.
and, yeah,
It's
Chips.
taken many years to get to that stage, so hopefully there'll be a great groundbreaking ceremony when the time comes.
I couldn't agree more, and so I'm looking forward to that. And I know that no help with the hurricanes with the base. That was a big thing, as you know, with being on the Defense Coalition, of the potential of more damage to the buildings out there, which is obviously a resilient factor for the area. But
And real quick, sorry, one more thing. So Matt didn't mention this, but he and I were invited to participate in a panel on the Restore America's Estuaries Conference coming up in 2 weeks. Something like that. Sometimes in the beginning of October. So it'll be a good opportunity where we can kind of highlight some of the collaborative efforts between Department of Defense, REPI, and local community organizations or local governments. So I think that's going to be a really good opportunity, especially for this region, because there's been a lot of investment through DoD and REPI to look at nature-based solutions to combat climate-related issues. So I think that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I'll dovetail into that. I think there's a lot of force protection benefits that the military finds in those initiatives as well. So it helps with security.
Yep.
all right, all good stuff. We have a few people from the public. Does anyone want to, do you have anything to say? No public comment? All right, well then, this meeting's adjourned, folks.